Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show, episode 864. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Connor?
Hello.
All right, so, Chris, what do you have?
Okay, so this is like possibly the ultimate spoilers for Rogue One. I don't think we're going to be doing any more Rogue One spoiler videos
That's
because
it.
the movie's in like a week. And so if you really don't want to know about it, and you don't want to know about what I think is probably going to be a big part of episode 8, possibly, stop watching.
I'll put a spoiler thing in this one.
Okay. So this is basically what happened. I had a friend of mine call me about an hour ago, and they said, did you see that the Rogue One soundtrack, the titles leaked early? So I had no idea. Apparently they came out late last night or around late last night. So I looked them up, and they are there. And I was reading them, and there's really nothing too spoilerish until you get to the very last track. And so you guys might remember that there was, when episode 1 came out, there was the
Yes,
soundtrack.
I bought the soundtrack in
And one of the titles was,
FYE.
one of the titles was Qui-Gon's Noble End, which kind of, Qui-Gon's going to die.
Yeah.
Well, this one is like that, but on steroids. It's what I've been saying since I saw it. The last track on the Rogue One soundtrack is called Guardians of the Whills Suite. Now, if you know anything about Star Wars, really deep lore, I should say, the Whills is a name that should come up in your mind very quickly. In one of the earliest drafts of George Lucas's first attempt at writing Star Wars, he had this thing called the Journal of the Whills. And basically it was going to be like a story that was told, or a bunch of stories that were told throughout the movies, and they were going to be a big part of the script and the movies, right? Basically what the Whills are, and they're canon. They were in Clone Wars, so they are canon. Basically what they are is, they are basically like the purest form of the Force, kind of. They kind of, in some drafts they created the Force, in other drafts they are so deeply rooted in the Force that it's almost like they are the Force itself, right? So I have a picture of what they're supposed to look like. This is what they looked like in Clone Wars. There's a whole few episodes where Yoda goes and speaks with them. So this is basically what they look like in Clone Wars.
Okay.
All right. Now, the story in Clone Wars, if I remember correctly, was that Qui-Gon learned how to do the whole Force Ghost ability from them.
Okay.
He had heard lore about the Whills. He knew about them. So the fact that this movie has something to do with them is huge, because the Whills are basically like the wellspring of the Force. And in one of the novels that's canon now, we know that Emperor Palpatine was looking for what he called the wellspring of the dark side. Apparently in this movie, and this is where the heavy spoilers for Rogue One come in other than that, one of the planets that they go on is called Jeddah, which is a very, very important planet to the Jedi. There is a Temple of the Whills on this planet. And furthermore, and this was backed up by a post that came out from Disney. Someone took a picture in like one of their, I think, museum, or not museum, but they had props from Rogue One on there, or in this place, and they had Chimrut Imwe's weapon, who is the character being played by Donnie Yen in Rogue One. One of his weapons was made by the Whills. It's like an ancient weapon that he has.
Oh, wow.
So, if all of this is seemingly true, I have a very funny feeling that this is going to have heavy implications for not only Rogue One, but for episodes 8 and 9 as well.
Oh, boy.
If they're introducing the Whills in this movie, and I don't think we're going to see them, but if they're introducing the concept into the movie universe, that's big.
Right.
That's a huge, huge, huge thing that they're bringing into canon. It was already in canon with Clone Wars, but into the canon of the movies as well, that's pretty big. And to further back that up, at the beginning of the Force Awakens novel, which is canon, there is a poem from the Journal of the Whills. at the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So this makes me wonder if this is going to have something to do with Snoke or something like that.
Now, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I think my son Joe told me this. He has a feeling that Snoke is like the size of Yoda.
He isn't. He's 8 foot.
Yeah, he's not the size of Yoda.
That's not just a hologram, and he's actually...
That had actually just been confirmed like 2 days ago that he's actually 8 foot tall.
Mm. Okay.
He's massive. Yeah,
he's massive.
Because they're saying that he's like from what I've heard, the idea that he is human. I think that's an idea that's been thrown out. They said I think they either said it or they heavily implied, and by they I mean Pablo Hidalgo, who's in charge of all this stuff, at least in the front of their company for Lucasfilm. He's been hinting that they were like someone asked him and he said, "Who says that Snoke was human?" So I think like what Connor just said, if he's 8 feet tall, which is what I've heard as well. That's a pretty big human. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
And I'm also hearing that he might be. We know he's in episode 8. That they might be using a practical effect for him this time around, rather than CGI like they did in 7.
Okay.
So I don't know, but getting back to what we were talking about, it's possible maybe that he's one of the Wills. It would make sense.
Oh.
It really ties.
But the Wills are also evil.
They can be.
So there's good and evil Wills.
The way I like to think about it, and I don't think they ever specifically.
There's no good or evil.
Yeah, because the quote, the poem at the beginning of The Force Awakens had something. I believe it ends with something like, "Once the light and the dark is no more, there is only gray," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they can be both light and dark because, I mean, they could introduce that if they wanted to.
But they don't fight each other, right? They're not like.
Well, they're supposed to be gone. Like the Wills are supposed to have died out, quote unquote, died out. But if Snoke is one of them, it jives with what they said in the book that Palpatine's looking for the wellspring of the dark side, because these beings are supposed to be the wellspring of the Force itself. Either they created it or they're heavily connected to it and they use it. But the whole idea is that they're not around anymore.
Right.
So,
but he's around. Yeah,
exactly. And it makes sense. He says he's been around for a long time.
So they got to kill him because then he could destroy everything. If he is.
I don't know if he could destroy everything, but I mean, he doesn't look like one of the Wills, but we don't know what the Wills look like without their masks, if you want to call those masks. So,
right.
I mean, it's interesting, and the fact that they are, the fact that the last track on the soundtrack has something to do with the Wills. The Guardians of the Wills. Like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Connor, you want to share that with Chris?
Yeah. I've just seen a post on a Star Wars subreddit saying that Lucasfilm submitted to 8th of December. So 2 days ago, they submitted a trademark filing to the European Union Intellectual Property Office for Star Wars Forces of Destiny. The list of items is more than 2,000 words long and includes items for staplers to Christmas tree ornaments. And yes, motion pictures films is on that list, as well as the usual merchandise like toys and various articles of clothing. That's been rumoured as the Episode 8 title.
What do you think, Chris? Forces of Destiny, I like it, actually.
That sounds cool. I'd be on board with that.
Me too.
It's better than some of the other titles that I've been seeing.
Oh, definitely.
Like Steps of the Jedi and stuff.
That's
I
stupid,
saw that and
yeah.
I was like, let's not.
Forces of Destiny is good.
I like it, yeah.
That's cool. It sounds cool to me.
I'm on board. All right, guys. Very good. So that's it. Take care. Bye for now.